Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, agents. I'm Matty Carl, and welcome to another Let's Talk right here on The Division. Hopefully you're staying frosty out there in New York City during these troubled times and keeping busy in the underground where it's nice and warm. Today we have another response video which is going to respond to a post on PvP that was brought to my attention in the Ubisoft forum, and this caught my eye because I'm writing a build for an everyman build that you can get the worst gear in the world and still make it turn out okay, and that's going to be delayed by a day or so that I can bring you this response because I thought this had a lot of really good points. A user by the name of Jeff Noble 14, he emailed me and shared this post to the official Ubisoft forums, and so I'm going to go ahead and respond to his post and expand on some things that I believe are true and important and need to be said. So with that said, let's get going. So Jeff's post, link in the description, is pretty good because it outlines the main issue with PvP and that there isn't any true PvP in this game. So let me read you what Jeff wrote. There is no PvP in this game. The closest you get to PvP are players who know they are going to be fighting other players, ambushing low-level players who don't know they're about to be fighting other players until they've already been killed by said higher-level player that walked up casually behind them because they don't have to announce they're going to be a douchebag and execute them. That's not PvP, and if you think it is, you're a douchebag who's too scared to go walk outside into the real world because little girls routinely kick your ass. Now, Jeff has a point about PvP, and that point is that unless there is an equality in PvP, then it's not really PvP, it's more just ganking somebody else. The Dark Zone is a place where you need to shoot first, and if you do, there is a penalty but the bigger penalty comes to the player who doesn't shoot first, because that player is going to end up dead. Sure, you lose XP and you get a timer for going rogue. That's not a big deal when you're level 99 in the DZ, and your level of carrying, if you lose 10,000 XP, goes out the window. You don't care if you lose a key. Most people who are ganking other players don't care. They'll just go get another one from the next guy. You see, there isn't a penalty for going rogue anymore at a certain point. The penalty is on the lower level players being preyed upon by these level 99 rogues. Rarely do I ever see a rogue who isn't level 99 anymore or running with a group of people who are level 99. The point is, when you get to a certain point in this game, going rogue doesn't matter because the amount of XP you lose isn't significant enough to cause you to stop and think that whether or not you should go rogue. Now, I personally gave up caring about being killed in the DZ for a long time, and the reason being is that I figured out a way to go into the DZ and not care. If I'm level 1, I don't care. If I'm level 60, I don't care because it doesn't affect me because I'm using an alt. Now, I hit the max level 99 on my main character, but is not the player I use in the DZ, and the player I use in the DZ isn't level 99, but that character also is an alt, so losing a level, losing money, losing keys doesn't really matter because the purpose of the character is to collect loot, extract loot, and then leave, but not be penalized if I'm killed along the way. The point is, there isn't PvP in the Dark Zone because PvP suggests there's equal sides to the PvP experience when in reality, as Jeff so adequately pointed out, it's one player walking up to another unsuspecting player and shooting them. Where is the skill? Where is the talent? Where is the PvP in that style of gameplay? Now, imagine Destiny's patrol metagame, and I know most of you have played Destiny, and in that area are ways that you get the best loot in the game, whether it's killing a boss or you're going over to Shawl the Thrall or whatever that guy's name is, or however, at any time, any other guardian could walk up and attack you and take your loot, and it makes it for these huge battles out in the middle of nowhere, but if you are attacked and you die, you lose the majority of your loot plus XP. I mean, I'm writing this down and it doesn't even sound like a game that I want to play, and I came from Destiny. I love Destiny. It got too repetitive, and the Division has a lot of stuff for you to do, but it's getting to be the repetitive portion of it, but that's not it. The PvP in Destiny is the crucible, and it's player versus player. It's actually everybody has the same skill set, everybody has the same level of guns, everybody has the same level of armor, and you're basically vying for skills. That's it. You're not vying because you have the best gear, and you're not winning because you have the best gear. You're winning because you have talent and you skill and you practice at it. Now, Not to be just a complainer, Jeff, like myself, finds value in coming up with some constructive ways to present fixes, and this is where the salt really begins to shine with the people who are in the PvP boat, because Jeff writes, so many fixes for this that it really comes down to what's easiest and fastest for the idiot developers to implement, because once they do, the player exodus stops almost immediately. First and best option, separate PvP servers from PvP only. Trust me, you'll only need one server. I know you think that you have a large PvP population. You don't. You have a large douchebag population. They are not going on to your PvP server where things are equal and fair more than once. The true PvP hardcore gamer population will rip them apart and they won't be back if you want to truly give your PvP players the best possible experience. I have, because I've posted on this topic multiple times and given my opinion multiple different ways, and I get two reactions to these posts on rogues. I get,
"You're right, Mounty Curl, that would be a great idea."
And these are the people that hate PvP, but they love the Dark Zone. They love the idea of the Dark Zone, they love the challenge of the Dark Zone, but they hate rogues. The other side I get are people that say things like,
"That's stupid. You're an idiot, Mounty Curl, and your idea is AIDS. You just gave AIDS to the internet."
That was a real comment somebody left, I kid you not. These people are those people who oppose the idea of separating PvP because a few reasons, and I'm going to make a whole lot of sense right here why there is such blowback on separating PVP Darkzones from the PVE Darkzones. This is simply because if they did this, the PvPers would only be in servers with other people who wanted to PvP. It would no longer be the gank zone, the salt zone, the grief zone, or any of the other zones that they call themselves. And they would absolutely hate the game because they would be in a zone where they would actually be shown for how good they truly are. They would no longer want to PvP because what fun is PvP to them if the other person has a fair chance of killing them? It's as simple as that. And the barrier to being in a PvP arena like this is that everyone else who is in there is a PvPer and they will try to gank you on sight because they're in there for a purpose and that's what they're doing. This would move 90% of the population out of the PvP Dark Zone areas and into a PvE Dark Zone, making it so that PvP no longer has a place in this game. And that is the honest to God truth right there on why PvP players reject the idea of separating the Dark Zones. That is 100% true. You can take that to the bank, and if you disagree with me, you are that person that I just talked about, and you're the person that Jeff talks about. Now, Jeff has a lot of ideas on how to fix the issue, and I am fortunately running out of time, so please go read Jeff's post in its entirety. I am trying to cover as much as possible, and I covered the main points that I wanted to. He has a lot of good suggestions on how to fix it, but I wanted to cover the meat and bones of it, and I pretty much made my main point as to why PvPers aren't willing to concede to having a separate PvP and PvE Dark Zone. It simply goes to the fact that most PvP players aren't really willing to give up the PvP aspect of just shooting someone who is unwilling to PvP with them. However, think about this. You can do your 1v1 tournaments in the streets without having to worry about the outside influences. So go read Jeff's article, leave him a comment. You can also leave a comment here on anything you want today. I will respond to it as much as possible. If you have an article you want me to cover and comment on, send it to me in an email. I'll take and read it and see if it's something that I can cover or something that I can fit into my schedule. Anyways, that's my time. Please leave a like for Jeff's post and a like for this video if you found it informative or just entertaining. We here are the champion of the little guy in the Dark Zone, salt or no salt. It just makes good sense to allow players to play in an area they feel they can group up with other players. In fact, I would be in favor of raising the level of the enemies in the Dark Zone for PvE zones only to make it harder. Make it like level 34 to 36 in the DZ6 and 5 because no PvP means it would be easier to farm unless you need a greater challenge. Not that the level 35s aren't providing that, but 35s are a bit easy for a lot of the geared players that are already in there. Thank you again for watching, and for all of us here at the Division Let's Talk, I am Mounty Curl and we'll see you in the underground. Agent out.